Good day folks, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Mavic Mini. DJI just launched this a few days ago and I've got several flights under my belt and I've been able to test it out thoroughly. In this video we're going to go over some of its features and some of its limitations, but first let's do a quick unboxing. So you can see there, as soon as we open up the box, you can see the case for it right away. And we've got another box underneath. Let's go ahead and we'll pull the top case out here. So we'll start with this big box here first. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be the 360 degree propeller guards. And yep, that's what it is. You can see here, it gives you 360 degree protection from the propellers. I don't know if it's something that I'll be flying with, but definitely good for new pilots. And here's the other one there. Just set that off to the side. We'll see what's in this little box. Looks like it's all our manuals, quick start guide. Let's see, there's the charging brick. This will either be the batteries or the charger. Looks like to be the batteries. And it's kind of interesting. We actually got 3 batteries in this kit. You can see these batteries are quite different than batteries DJI has done in the past. So we're going to set all that other stuff off to the side and we will get into the good stuff here. So here we have the charger, the controller. So yeah, you can see it looks very similar to the Mavic Air controller. We have the removable sticks. We will get to that here in a minute. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be the extra propellers, and yep, that's what it is. So we've got extra propellers and extra screws. Let's see what we got in this package here. So inside that other box here, you can see we have a micro USB cable. We have a little tiny screwdriver, and that'll be used to replace the propellers. We got a second micro USB cable. We have some extra remote sticks. And then lastly here, we have the connector from the remote to the phone. And this time it's kind of different. They don't have one pre-installed. Usually they always had the Lightning version pre-installed, but they've got all 3 in here. And then lastly, we have the drone. And wow, that is tiny and that is light. Here, let me just get all this stuff out of the way so you can get a better look at it. Like, there's nothing to that. I'm a little bit concerned at how it's going to handle the wind because, you know, you do need a little bit of weight in order for it to, you know, stay somewhat stable. Let's get things unraveled here. Now, definitely it does not feel as heavy duty as something like the Mavic Pro or even the Mavic Air. Probably had to really play around with the composition of the materials and that to get it to weigh under 250 grams. You can see here we don't have any kind of obstacle avoidance at the front there. We do have some sensors at the bottom here to keep it stable when flying indoors. We'll take the gimbal cover off. And you can see there, we actually have a 3-axis gimbal. You can see here at the bottom we have a micro USB for charging and we have a micro SD card. We can open up the back and the battery just slides in. You can hear it click in. And you can see on the bottom there, that's where the power button is located. And I'm just noticing that they even have the weight printed on the side there. That's actually a really good idea that they've done that, because if you're out flying somewhere and you get stopped by security or a police officer, and if they want to know if you're compliant, if you're under the weight limit, the weight's actually printed right on the side there. So that's actually a really nice idea. So when news first started coming out that there was going to be a Mavic Mini released, to tell you the honest truth, I wasn't really overly excited. I really like the idea of having a ultralight drone, especially one that's under the 250 gram mark. For the most part, I fly a Mavic 2 Pro, so I didn't really see how this would really kind of fit into my workflow when I'm capturing content. In my mind, I kind of had it built up to be a toy grade drone designed for kids, but I was actually quite wrong. Once I actually got my hands on it, I was actually able to see just how capable this little drone is. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some limitations to it, and we're going to cover all that in this video as we go along. I was impressed from this little drone right from the very first flight. Now, being under 250 grams is very important for a lot of people in a lot of countries. For example, here in Canada, if you want to fly a drone that's over 250 grams, first of all, you have to be a Canadian citizen. You have to be 14 years of age or older. You have to pass at least a basic exam online. And that exam is actually very tricky. It's not an easy test to pass by any means. Once you've got your pilot certificate, you then have to register your drone. A drone of this size kind of eliminates all that. If you're a tourist coming to visit Canada, you can now fly the Mavic Mini within Canada. If you're 14 years of age or under, you can now fly the Mavic Mini. And you don't have to worry about all the regulations. Now, with that said, there's still all the safety guidelines you have to follow, but this 249 gram drone really does kind of make things a little bit easier. It allows new pilots to kind of get into the hobby, and that's what DJI was targeting with this drone. Introduce a low-cost drone that's super easy to fly, and you don't have to follow all the strict regulations. Although it is a perfect little drone for new pilots, and if you're just beginning in the hobby, I think it's a great tool for even seasoned pilots. Until you pick this up, you just don't realize how light it is, and you want to pack very lightly. Something like this might be a great choice for you. It's not a 4K drone, it only shoots at 2.7K. 2.7K is still a very acceptable resolution, and not only that, it actually does a really good job. The quality of 2.7K video is just superb. Before we get too far in this video here, I'll just show you a clip of my first flight with the Mavic Mini. Now this footage is all 100% unedited. There's no color correcting or grading or any kind of other enhancements. It's just raw right off the drone. So let's check that out now. Okay, we're ready for our first flight. Let's start up the props here. Well, let's take it for a flight. So as you can see there, it did a really good job capturing that footage. Now, the day that I went out flying, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think wind was about 21 kilometers an hour, and we had gusts of about 30 to 31 kilometers an hour. And that was actually one of my biggest concerns about the Mavic Mini and it being so light. But because this drone does have GPS, it does hold its position fairly well, and it does a pretty good job at handling the wind. Now, with that said, wind can be a factor. Definitely a drone like this cannot handle wind like something like a Mavic 2 Pro. But on a day with a bit of moderate wind, you know, this thing can hold its own. You don't have to worry about that too much. Let's take a quick look at it in comparison to the size of some of the other DJI drones. There we have the Spark. You can see the size difference there. When it's in its folded state, you can see there that it is smaller than the Spark, just because the Spark didn't have the folding arms. Now here it is compared to the Mavic Air. Not a huge difference in size, except when it comes to weight. And here it is compared to the Mavic 2 Pro. So you can see there's quite a bit of size difference there, and quite a bit of weight difference. So there we have them all in the lineup, and you can see the size difference. Now if we take a look at the remote for the Mavic Mini, it's very similar in shape and size to that of the Spark and the Mavic Air, but there are quite a few differences. So on the right hand side here, this is the Mavic Air remote. You can see that there are some differences. Both of them have the removable sticks. We only have a power button and a return to home button. There's not a button on the front here to switch modes, there's no function button, and there's no pause button. If we go to the back of it, you can see that we still have a record and a photo button on both remotes. The Mavic Mini still has a dial for the gimbal, but there's no bottom button there. Other than that, they feel pretty similar. The Mavic Mini folds out very similarly to the Mavic 2 Pro. If you purchase the drone by itself, you get 1 battery. If you purchase the drone with the Fly More combo, you get 3 batteries. You also get this charging hub. You can see here I've got the 3 batteries installed. There's a little bit of a lock that holds them in there. The nice thing about this charging hub, it kind of acts as a case for the batteries. So you can now throw this right in a camera bag and you don't have to worry about your batteries rolling around. To check the level of your batteries, you just press the button on the side there and you can see that the LEDs light up. Now that's the only kind of downfall to these batteries. There's no way to check to see what the power is without having it either installed in the drone or installed in the charging hub. The other nice thing DJI has done here is that when you have batteries installed in the charging hub, this whole charging hub essentially becomes a power bank. You can see there we have a USB-A port, so you could plug your phone into the charging hub here and charge up your phone. Now there's a couple different ways you can charge the Mavic Mini. You can have a battery inside the drone there and plug it into the micro USB port and charge one battery via the drone, or you can charge all 3 batteries via the charging hub. Now one thing that is really nice, you can plug in the charging hub to a power bank. These batteries are all fully topped up, so it's not going to do much charging to them. Now, I haven't done any speed tests or how much longer it would take to charge them up via power bank. Even though it may be a little bit slower, being able to charge up your drone batteries via power bank is definitely handy. We'll get into a little bit more of the drone here and its performance, but first let's talk about some of its limitations and things I'm not too fond of. First off, like I showed you here, it is micro USB. I really wish DJI had gone with USB-C. I just hate having to bring extra cables along with me. There's no obstacle avoidance, and I can only assume DJI has done that because they wanted to keep the cost of the drone down and the weight of the drone down. Adding obstacle avoidance would add weight to the drone and it would drive the cost up a little bit more. Now I also found that transferring video files from the drone to your phone via the DJI Fly app was very slow. I'm hoping that's just a firmware thing that can maybe be tweaked a little bit. Now to be fair, I'm still using a beta app. DJI hasn't released the official Fly app, and that might be different once it's out to the public. And again, just a little bit of a warning, you do have to be careful. This thing will not handle wind like a Mavic 2 Pro. It does a very good job. Like I said, I did fly it on a fairly windy day, and I was never felt once that I was not in control of the drone. Now lastly, one thing here that I'm not a fan of is DJI has kind of gone with those props that are individually held in with screws, kind of like the Parrot and Naffy. I'm not a big fan of them, and I don't know why DJI went to that. Again, it might be to save money or to cut down on the weight because there's less material in there. It's not too often that I have to change props in the field, but I can just foresee if I do happen to clip a tree branch when I'm flying this, and I do have to change a prop when I'm out in the field, it would be a real pain, messing around with these little screws and little screwdrivers. Definitely some twist-on props would have been nice. And because DJI is gearing this to brand new pilots, I think that would have been an easier setup for them as well, being able to change props very easily. So just a few little minor things there. The next thing, let's talk about range. It's rated at 4 kilometers. Now, there's no way that you're ever going to get 4 kilometers, especially if you're flying in a city and areas with congested Wi-Fi. Now, with that said, range is not a big issue for me. I tend to not fly my drones too far from me. After all, regulations do say line of sight, so, it's always a good idea to follow that. Myself, I'd prefer a nice solid connection. Nothing worse than when your drone's quite a ways from you and your feed is breaking up and getting choppy, losing connection. You get that kind of uneasy feeling in your stomach. While I was out a couple times, and when I was about 500 to 600 meters, that's when I would start getting a notice that I was having a weak transmission signal. And I never disconnected once, and there was only a few little hiccups in the video, but it actually stayed pretty solid. It's not too often that I'm flying farther than that. I actually did have it out about 1 kilometer, 900 meters, maybe a little bit more. And the clip I already showed you here when I was chasing the train, I'll just throw that up on the screen here again. At this point here, I'm actually about just under 1 kilometer away. The video was starting to get a little bit hesitant, but definitely still solid enough to fly. And like I said, it never lost connection. And flying a Mavic 2 Pro, you kind of get spoiled with the OcuSync 2.0 because that connection is super solid. I've never even had so much of a hiccup on it and flying in busy Wi-Fi areas. So, you're a little spoiled with that kind of connection. But I would probably say it's similar to that of the Spark or the Air. I don't know if DJI has made any technology changes to the Wi-Fi. It's just a Wi-Fi connection, so it's not going to be a perfect connection by any means. The only thing lastly I do have to say is that when it comes to the build of it, it definitely does not feel like some of the other DJI drones. That was the first thing I did notice when I took it out of the box. It looks like a nice quality build, don't get me wrong, but it just feels very lightweight, which of course is what they were aiming at. But when you pick up something like the Spark, it just feels a little bit more robust, I guess you could say. The Mavic Mini does feel a little bit hollow and plasticky, which for the most part it is hollow, but definitely you'll notice a difference if you're coming from a Spark. Now for me, I think I will be making good use of the Mavic Mini just for the fact that, I do enjoy flying my Mavic 2 Pro, but I don't bring it everywhere with me just because sometimes, I'm packing light or we're just touring around, whatever. I don't always have a camera bag with me. When I went out on my first flight with the Mavic Mini, I was wearing a hoodie. I didn't even bring a case with me. I had the Mavic Mini in one pocket, I had the controller in the other pocket, and I had the batteries in my pants pocket. So I didn't even have a bag with me, and I had everything I needed to fly. And that sometimes is super important. It's like that old saying, the best camera is the one you have with you. But something like this you can definitely bring along with you a lot easier, especially if you are a person who travels and you need to pack extremely light. You can still get some really nice shots with a drone like this and not have to worry about adding a lot of weight to your kit. So I'm going to leave it at that for now for this video. I've got a ton of other videos that I have planned coming up over the coming weeks. In this video I was just kind of giving my opinion on it, but I do plan on making some other videos going into a little bit more in depth with some of the features and capabilities. We're going to do a walkthrough of the DJI Fly app. We'll have that ready in a day or so. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do so you don't miss them. Well folks, hopefully you enjoyed this video and you found it informative. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.